Hello and welcome to another episode of Writing Essentials with Mrs. Benson. Today we are diving into the prompt overview for your literary analysis assignment. We are reading Doris Lessing's Through the Tunnel. And as we read that short story, I want you to keep in mind that you will be performing a literary analysis with that story. So I am going to talk just a little bit about what that prompt is for each of you at each grade level and what you might want to be thinking about as you're reading the short story. So in essence, our first 6 weeks of the writing program were focused on narrative writing, and these 6 weeks are focused on the informational writing style of literary analysis. So we are going to be developing all these skills as we write a literary analysis of a short story. We are going to be honing our skills in finding evidence, quotation embedding, literary analysis, which is what we're doing, composing an introduction, a body of an essay, a conclusion, crafting a topic sentence, crafting theses, your thesis statement, and establishing a formal academic tone. So we're going to be honing a lot of these skills as we analyze a piece of literature. You will be performing 3 submissions that is in a sort of similar vein to our last unit. First, you're going to submit to me some of your planning. So you're going to plan out your essay before you just dive in and write it. And there will be subsequent videos to help you with that planning. In particular, crafting your thesis and in developing evidence, so on and so forth. Your second submission to me will be your first draft, so that will be the one that takes the most heavy lifting. And then your final submission will be your final draft of your analysis, where you take your first draft and you revise and improve it based on the feedback that I give you. Our literary analysis for Through the Tunnel is going to be focused on character development. So first, we're going to take a look at the prompts for each grade level and the requirements for each, and then we'll dive into what that planning document looks like. So first up is the actual prompt. We'll head over there. So here's the prompt, and it's real simple. First, you're going to read the short story. You'll see it linked in with your prompt doc in Canvas. And there's another video that will give an overview of some of the more significant elements of that short story. And then you're going to read the prompt carefully for your grade level. You will construct a literary analysis on a fresh new Google Doc, with your MLA heading and your response, and submit that to Canvas by the assigned due dates for the first draft and the final draft. Be certain to send any questions my way and visit me on Tuesdays if you would like to get some one-on-one help. So let's take a look at the prompts. For 6th grade, describe Jerry's relationship with his mother at the beginning of the story, and how does it change by the story's end? Support your answer with specific examples from the text. Your response will be one extended paragraph, and I'm asking for one embedded quotation in your response. And we'll talk about quotation embedding in another video. So in essence, your focus for your essay of character development and literary analysis is to think specifically about Jerry's relationship with his mother and how that relationship might change over the course of the story. For 7th grade, another character analysis prompt, but a little bit different. Jerry undergoes a change that may not be obvious to those around him, but which has profound meaning for the boy. How does Jerry change from the beginning of the story to the end? What qualities does he gain, and which ones does he leave behind? So you're in essence writing a character sketch of Jerry and describing the changes he undergoes. So you're really focusing on Jerry and how he as a person changes from the beginning of the story to the end of the story. And the last prompt is for the 8th graders. Oh, and sorry, for the 7th grade, it's 3 paragraphs, not 1, but 3. So you'll have an introductory paragraph, a body paragraph, and a concluding paragraph. For 8th grade, the prompt reads as follows. What are the 2 opposing forces in Jerry's internal conflict? How does the physical challenge make the internal conflict more exciting? How does the internal conflict contribute to the meaning of the work as a whole? And your length for your essay is 4 paragraphs. And for 7th grade, I'm asking for 2 embedded quotations. For 8th grade, I'm asking for, is it 3 or 4? I think it's 4 embedded quotations, 4, 2 per body paragraph. So you will have 1 introductory paragraph, 2 body paragraphs, and 1 concluding paragraph. Your prompt adds another layer of complexity because you're thinking about the internal conflict within Jerry and also how the physical challenge is a reflection of his internal challenge, or the physical conflict he endures is a reflection of his internal conflict as well. So you have the 3 prompts and you're going to be tackling them over the course of this unit. So think that you have several weeks to tackle this prompt. And I provide different organizational suggestions there, which are covered in another video. And then I also provide you with the rubric points. Now, these rubrics are constructed based on the Common Core State Standards. So you can see the significant things that I'll be looking for as I read your analyses. I'll be looking for you to introduce the topic clearly, whether that's in an introductory sentence or in an introductory paragraph, depending on your grade. And I will be looking for your development of that topic with relevant evidence from the text, including quotations. So we'll be talking about that as well. It's important to use transitions. So between your pieces of evidence or between paragraphs, if you have multiple paragraphs, you want transitions. We want to use precise language. We've talked a lot about verbs in the past and how specific verbs can really add a lot of impact to your writing. So we want to use our best diction possible, as well as maintain a formal academic style throughout. We don't want to use slang or informal speech. All of you will be providing either a concluding statement or a concluding paragraph that supports the information that was presented and also provides a sense of finality and closure. So those are your prompts. And the first step in tackling these prompts, obviously, after you read the short story and maybe even take notes as you're reading or watching the video where I overview the story, the first step is then going to be to plan your response. So I'll just spend a few moments talking about that essay planning so that you can tackle that when you're ready. I just provided the prompts for you one more time, and then the planning starts right underneath that. And there are 4 steps to the planning. And I think if you complete these 4 steps without even thinking about actually composing the whole essay, it will give you a great foundation to enter that writing process. The first step is to think about your introduction or your introductory statement. And in order to think of introductions, I recommend these questions to be at the forefront of your mind. Who, what, where, when, why, and then title, author, genre. There's an introductory video, so you'll want to be watching that in order to really craft that introduction well. But this is the brainstorming part. So just try to answer these journalistic and background questions so that you can start formulating an idea of how to present the background for this story. Step 2 is probably the most important step, and that's where you're going to clearly respond to the prompt with a thesis statement. I created sentence frames for each grade level, and you can feel free to use these to craft your thesis statement, or you might want to word it how you want to word it and go in a little bit of a different wording direction. But the point of the thesis is to clearly lay out what you're going to present forward as you write your response. So it needs to be really clear, not vague or too wordy or convoluted sounding. And it needs to clearly answer the question that the prompt is presenting. So you'll see
Apologies.
Sorry, Siri. You'll see different sentence frames for each grade level, and there are blanks. And it's up to you to come up with what word or words best would go in those blanks. And that is what you're arguing in your essay. Okay. For step 3, you're looking for evidence. So your evidence has to be specific details from the text. All right. So if you're arguing about how Jerry transforms from being one way to another way, I'm not going to tell you any ways, so you don't want to run with what I say. How do you know that? How did you know he changed from X to Y? Where's the evidence of that? So give just those brief notes of those details in the short story that gave you the sense of that change, that gave you the sense of whatever you're arguing. Present them there. I recommended 3 to 4. It's a little bit different depending on your grade level, but the more evidence you have, the better. And then you can decide which is your best evidence that you want to include in your response. The last step for the planning is to try to come up with some quoted material that will kind of complement and be integrated in your supporting details, your evidence that you provide. For 6th grade, I'm asking for 1 embedded quotation, for 7th, 2, and for 8th, 4. So those embedded quotations, I have a whole video that will be about quotation embedding. All you want to do right now is just try to find a quote that is really good proof for that plot element or that story detail that makes your thesis explained, that explains your thesis, excuse me. So this 4-step planning guide is what you're going to submit first. And I will be providing you feedback so that you can have a sense if you're moving in the right direction to respond to your prompt. And then once you have that, writing the essay is almost not as stressful because you have all the pieces that you need to kind of pull together to kind of get you on your way in your first draft. All right. There will be plenty more videos to come to talk about all these different elements, the intro, body paragraphs, embedding quotations, conclusions, writing a thesis. So feel free to send questions my way and look forward to those as well in order to support you as you write your literary analysis. Can't wait to read them. Take care.